And we are live like a wire.
Hey, is that like you get paid? You get paid to say that shit? You know?
I feel like every time I say it differently as well, you know.
You think?
I feel like I
No,
mix songs up.
I feel like you say the same every time, guy.
Live like a wire. I set the
Oh,
whole place on fire.
no, you think?
Wrong? Wrong?
I don't, I don't know.
Rap styles vary and carry like Mariah.
Is that it? You're good. You got it
Yes,
out.
man. Yeah, I got
You
it out.
got you got it
I
out.
got it out. I got it out.
All right, cool. As long as you got it out.
How
How's the
you
day?
doing today?
I was about to ask you. I asked you the same question, man. How's your day, guy?
Okay, I'll tell you about my day.
Yeah.
My day was a good day. So started off with, you know what I like about my when school's out? I love that that's when, like my boys are with me and I just get to wake up in the morning, just head to the field with them or head to the basketball court and just have our time of training. You know what I mean? I relish those moments. All right. So got to do that this morning and
Mm-hmm.
the
Saw
weather's
a little bit of that.
beautiful. The weather's beautiful. It's hot out there.
So is it beautiful or is it hot? Which one? Or is hot beautiful or
Hot
beautiful
is
hot?
beautiful.
Channel 9, what up? All right, hot
Ah,
is
Mr.
beautiful.
9, Mr. Channel 9.
See, that same that shit too. That sounds the same every time too, guy. That's good that it sounds the same. I think personally.
Oh, okay.
No, right? Maybe.
Do you hear the cars in the background?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just looked outside the window and it's like there's a car show, like a car show happening across the street in the parking lot. I'm talking about like Lamborghinis and Ferraris and anything that with big pipes. That's what she said. That's what you're looking for. That's what she said, wasn't it?
Mm-mm. It's almost there. Think about it for a second and see if it worked.
Yeah,
It was
it's
close.
pretty out there. I was thinking, man, I should go out there with the camera and it'd be good for the show.
Are you a car guy? You're a car guy? You
I'm
like
not a
cars?
car guy. No,
No,
I'm not a car guy.
I'm not a car guy either.
No, there was never a part of you that was. Never a moment in life.
When Gran Turismo came out on PlayStation, that was the closest I got to being a car guy.
No, I never was. I think my friends around me were,
Hmm.
or at least it sounded like it because they spoke about things that were beyond me.
Like twin turbos.
Twin turbos, shafts, and lower suspension and air suspension and
Bear suspension.
beer suspension.
Bear.
Yeah. But I was saying for this morning, I got to go out and train the boys, and then I wasn't going into work today.
Hmm.
But then
What's with all this no work day? I like that. Go on. I like that.
um, this lady by the name of Angie Sampson, she messaged me this morning and asked if I would have an availability for a friend of hers who wants to get her husband's haircut for his 50th birthday. And I'm not supposed to be in, but I said to myself, if Andrea asks me, I'm going to find a way to make myself available. Andrea's she's a mover and shaker in the hair industry.
Hmm.
She's done pretty well for herself. She's made a name for herself, and I consider her a big deal. Like I love the things that she's up to and things that she does. She puts on big hair shows, and she has like a magazine called EFE magazine, right? So she's doing things, right? So for her even to consider asking me, like I just
She should have just done it herself. You think she figured
I
she
mean
just figured?
she could have,
Yeah,
she
you just
right?
figured she should have just done it. Drop
Yeah,
two
she
designs
could
and
have.
put a 50 in the back of Pops' head and good to go.
She could have,
All right.
right? But she asked me, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make myself available. So I did that, and I had a great time with the couple that came in. Gave him a nice cut. His son was a little apprehensive about it. His dad getting a haircut, and the wife was like, "Let's get this done." You know, he sat down in a chair like, I had no clue we were coming here.
Oh, for real.
Yeah, and he had like a lot of hair, but it was a good experience and everything felt good. You know, he got it. He got his cut. Everybody was happy, and when they're happy with the service I provide, this makes me feel good. You know, I was like, all right, it was worth me coming into the shop because the whole interaction was perfect.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's wonderful. Trouble, what up?
Milo T, what up with you? So how was your day?
My day was all right. It was a good work day, but I had to commute today.
Oh.
Oh.
When you say commute, drive or hop on transit?
Yeah, I had to drive.
Okay, you
Like
just like when you have to go into your office at home.
Yeah, it's like 15 minutes away. On a bad day, it's 15 minutes away to my regular work. Today it took me an hour and 40 minutes to get to where I was going. Hour and 40 minutes, guy.
Is it because of the smoke from Quebec? What the?
How? Miss Sylvia, Cammy, what up? Medina. Oh, Medina, people don't even know how funny that is. Man. I gotta open a ticket, yo. Oh, Faith,
you was trying to message me on Teams.
Oh my goodness. No, man. That was just because I had to be there for 9:30. 9:30 is like, and I didn't have to, like, it's not like a full day or anything. Like you know, like it's not like my full day at work. I just be there for a meeting in a little bit. So I didn't like that. But then it was a good day. And then I had to come back.
You sound stressed out about it.
I don't want to commute, man. I didn't like that.
But if you're driving, if you start off in Hamilton, you start driving for an hour and 45 minutes, you should find yourself somewhere close to Gananoque. So Gananoque, at least Kingston. You said you were still in Hamilton by the time you finished the hour and 45 minutes.
Oh, man.
Happy birthday, Flint. Happy
Flint,
birthday.
What up?
Cammy 23, what up with you? Milo T. So Milo T says she gifted me something and I left it.
What'd she do? You left her stuff, guy?
So she on my birthday, she gifted me a bottle of Snoop Dogg's California Red.
And you left it on the boat?
No, at my mother's house. Cindy, I didn't leave it, you know. I didn't leave it behind. I left it for when I have Sunday dinner at mom's house. I'm gonna pop the bottle there. Today, today I am having the one that I showed you guys last week. Why? How come every time I want to show you guys now it doesn't?
Because you gotta stop moving it for a second.
Okay. Okay. You're smart.
I read a book. It's bright light. You're putting it right into the light. You gotta tilt it like forward or downwards or up or back.
We're gonna get it.
Read the label.
No, I don't want to read the label. I want you guys to read the label. It says "Happy Birthday Couture."
Oh, that's from Channel 9.
From Channel 9, because Channel 9 does not gift bottles without writing the person's name on it so that they cannot re-gift it. So I have to drink it. Channel 9, thank you, sir. Much appreciated. And Cindy, when you get back to the house, we will drink that bottle of Snoop Dogg California Red, 19 Crimes. I appreciate you.
Anyways, I didn't like to commute. That's the end of my story, damn it.
I get you. I
don't want to do that.
You get into anything special this weekend?
Upcoming?
No,
last weekend?
Yeah.
I feel like I did something. I just can't put my finger on it.
Did you go to the Beyonce concert?
No, I got a lot of rich friends, I guess, though. For real, with people. They're going with people too, guys. Like, I got a rich friends, man. Yo, how about I get this backyard ticket next time, man?
I don't understand that, because I remember when Beyonce announced her concert, all Instagram was just, who does Beyonce think she is, having a concert with $2,000 tickets?
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
it was like a big uproar.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody was at this concert. How come?
Everybody.
How come everybody I knew on
and they bought
Instagram
and they bought t-shirts too, guy. I heard the t-shirts were like $110, guy.
But how about they brought their kids? How about they brought their kids? So I'm like, okay, first of all, people are complaining that it's a $2,000 ticket. Now you're going and you're bringing your kids? I know richer people than I thought I knew, man. The people around me are a lot richer than they make out to be.
You gotta raise the prices on the haircuts.
Yeah. I'm raising the prices on these haircuts. You're not gonna look at me and tell me, man, you know what? I can't afford it. But then,
can you just do my beard? Nah, can't do the beard. No. Oh man. Anyways,
bringing your kids. No, your kids are gonna have to get a job. My kids have to get a job if they want to see Beyonce. No, but I'm sure it was a fantastic show.
I heard it was good. I heard it was
a fantastic show.
$45 Lotus oil. Easily on the Lotus. I got the Lotus oil on right now. Lotus oil is the good stuff. Anyways, you know what today is? Before we bring on our guest, I got to tell you what today is. It's the National Day of this is for you. You ready?
Go ahead. Slushy Day?
It is 7-Eleven Day. That's a little bit further down the list.
Okay.
7-Eleven, so it's slush. It's also Mojito Day, right?
Mojito Day.
Blueberry Muffin Day.
Blueberry Muffin Day.
Yeah. And one that I was going to tell you first, but then I saved it for last. It's Cow Appreciation Day. Oh, shit. It's Cow Appreciation Day.
That's a good one.
You like that?
Touche.
Big Gird wants the old price. Oh, boy.
Touche. Wow, our guests will like that one for sure.
We're going to talk about the beef. Where's the beef? Anyways, so you're going to tell them why we're here? Tell them why we're here.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining Pizza in the Break Room, episode 102. Can you believe we've done that? Every Tuesday, 9:30, 102 times. Today, we got a special guest, Hamilton's own Jonny Blonde from Jonny Blonde's Kitchen. We are going to bring him into the chat. We're going to have conversation. We're going to find out about him, his journey, and what he is up to. Again, this is Pizza in the Break Room, episode 102. T-Dot Hot Shot, Couture J brought it. We'll see you in a second.
We here now. We here. Yeah. It's in the break room, y'all. Holla, holla, holla. Woo! Oh, Jonny.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Hi, Fitz. Sean.
Sir. Happy to have you.
Nice to see you guys. Happy to be here.
So how's everything been so far for your day?
You know, it's been a good day. I had just a little bit of work today, not too crazy. And the rest of the day, I was working on some personal stuff, some new projects, kind of working on for the future. So it's nice. Good. Okay. Not a crazy day, which is nice for me. I have a lot of crazy ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Especially at this time of year. This is the time of year where I'm really cranking. So I'm grateful for a day to just kind of slow down a bit.
Well, I'm glad you're able to fit us into that.
Oh, no, I'm happy to be here. I'm grateful to be here.
Jonny has a radio voice, says Denise Jojo. It's a true story, but, you know.
And you know, the funny thing is I sit here talking with you every Tuesday and I think, T-Dot, man, you got this super deep, amazing voice.
No.
I know because I'm listening to Jonny now.
No. Gonna put me on the spot. It's gonna make it.
Yeah, you can hear the bass in it. You can just feel it. It's anyways.
Now we got to bring Tadao in and Che.
and challenge. Have a voice challenge.
A voice challenge.
Miss, Miss G Live. Good evening.
Miss G Live, what up with you?
So I was telling Fitz that we go a little bit back, kind of a meeting through our other partners, and since then, I've been able to see kind of your journey and things like that, and kind of what you've been doing for a long time. But as even as we were talking yesterday, it seems like there's much more to all of that. There's so much of a bigger story than kind of what I know. So that's why it was kind of cool for me to, reach out to you and get you on here, because, I know you primarily initially through the food truck, and what you've been able to do in Hamilton in general. So I guess for you, how far do we go back, Fitz? What do you think? How far do we want to ask? Like, what kind of story we're going to tell here, Jonny? What do you think?
I think we go back to the beginning. I think we go back to when he was a customer service representative at the local phone company, and then he says to himself, "You know what? I don't want to be on the phone anymore."
No, I mean it's close. It's close to that. We can go, but we can. Actually, I've been one. Actually, so I was I never was much for school, so I kind of dropped out at a young age. And I did have some crappy jobs. I remember doing a job where I was selling trinkets. They would drop me off in Niagara Falls, and I would have to walk to all the businesses and sell trinkets. And I mean that's a tough sales job. Like, I mean, you gotta learn how to get no 1,000 times in a row. I remember I must have been 17 or 15 or 16, something pretty young. And like, I'm kind of dressed up in like a suit. Mm-hmm. Like, it looks funny. I look like a 12-year-old. I was really like, I just looked really very young, even for a 14 or 15-year-old kid. I looked really young. So I remember somehow I had stopped. I remember there was like a strip club or something. I remember I'd stopped in there, and they actually bought everything I had. I was so grateful for them. That was like my one sale I got, and they just cleaned me out. I was the happiest day of my life. Oh my God. But anyway, that was one of my. I've had other bad jobs. Not that they're bad jobs. I just mean like
they're all experiences, right?
Jobs that weren't for me, like washing windows, and I can't remember some of them. I worked in an oil factory, and it's some interesting jobs. Anyway, my friend Chad, a good friend of mine, gave me a chance just working as a cook in East Hamilton at it's kind of like a barbecue type, for like French fried chicken wing restaurant called Chaps. And it had great wings, but it wasn't like, I'm not going to say that's like fine dining by any stretch.
Yeah.
And but I remember the owner of the place, he would come in the kitchen every day and work with us. And he was really excited about it every day. And it would be like we were busy. I mean, we'd be doing big numbers there. And the owner really cared, which makes you kind of care. You can't help but get sucked into this, this adrenaline thing that happens for 2-3 hours every night. And then, they slide a nice cold beer into you after you kind of sweat your ass off for 3-4 hours. And I was like, it's cool as a kid anyway. That's kind of what got me into cooking was the rush. Mm-hmm. A little bit later on, a couple years down the road, I ended up working at, like a European kind of pastry cafe, I would say. Portuguese family who they had an amazing love for food, and that really, that translated inside of me. And you get to go through all these little different places and jobs, and life, for some reason or another, sometimes you get fired, you make a dumb move somewhere, you get fired for something. The thing about cook jobs is like they're always plentiful.
Right.
It's not like, because it's not a high paying job, and it's like, that a lot of times cooks just get mad and throw their apron at the chef or the boss and say, I had enough, fuck off.
Right.
And that sort of thing happens in the kitchen. And and whatever. I will say, it used to be. I don't know if it used to be different, but I mean, the kitchen can be a hard place with a lot of screaming and like high intensity pressure going on. And I definitely worked in some kitchens like that, and I strive not to, employ that in my business now.
Mm-hmm.
It sometimes does get the better of me, and it does happen. I mean, you can't help it sometimes. I mean, the food truck it can be a crazy place. It's a very tight place. There's not a lot of space. It's hot as hell in there, and the lineups can be big. Or like we're doing a lot of weddings now. We do a lot of high pressure, high pressure situations. As I was telling Sean yesterday, and you Fitz, with the I'm lucky to get to be there for a lot of kind of people's events. The big events in their life. It's they're bringing a child into the world. They need some catering for a family function, a wedding, sometimes a death. Birthday parties, whatever it is. It's like I get invited to a lot of great parties. It's a fun life for me, to be honest. I'm having a good time doing it, and yeah, that's
you get to be a part of what makes that particular event memorable, actually.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like you got to eat, man, and a party is a party, and a party is definitely way better with great food.
Right.
Anything to facilitate that, really.
So you talk about the food truck. So you got into food trucks early, and that's when food trucks weren't really a big thing. And from my perspective, I think Hamilton did good in the food truck industry. Like, I think a lot of everything came from that group of original folks. So first of all, what made you decide to do the food truck, just in general? Because you're a chef, like you said, it's bountiful, you can be anywhere. But what made you just kind of decide to do the food truck?
Oh, I was the the chef at a really high-end butcher shop in Dundas at the time, and I had just finished university for economics. They had put me through school, and it was a great job. It was literally like a dream job as a chef. It was a Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, making pretty good money for doing with the job. As a chef, I was making good money. And I didn't work weekends, and it was kind of great stuff. I respect the owner greatly. I still respect the one greatly. He's a great guy. Taught me a lot about passion and business. And one day, you just wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you're like, man, I could see myself 30 years down the road, like, in this exact spot. And I'm like, fuck, don't do it, man. Figure something out. Like,
right.
I mean, as great as it was, I felt like I had more than that in me. And I started like just thinking in my head, I'm like, how can I do this? I'm like, I don't really have any money. And this is actually a true story. This happened quickly. From that moment that I looked at myself in the mirror and said, you're going to be here in 30 years from now because it's a great job and you're comfortable. Literally, 30 minutes went by. I decided I'm starting a food truck. I had no money in my bank account, nothing. And I went downstairs and quit my job. And I put in my 2 weeks notice and said, I've got to do something. Like, I just felt like if I don't just do something, I'm going to be trapped forever. And I didn't have any kids. I don't have anything really. Nothing's going to happen to me. I'm not going to starve. I'll always find another job. Anyway, nonetheless, I did quit. I did quit, and I ended up having to go back. I didn't have enough. I had borrowed some money from a friend of mine to start the food truck. I had a little bit of money on my own, but I got about halfway to building the food truck and ran out of money, and I had to go ask for my old job back, which he said to me, I'm sorry, your job's been taken. And, but we have a spot for a delivery driver in Toronto. So I was working in Hamilton at the time, and because I used to work in Toronto for the same company, and I was doing the commute, and then I moved to Dundas. anyway, so I decided, okay, let's go do it. I'll go and be a driver. So I was delivering meat downtown Toronto to all these like incredible, it's like a high-end butcher shop. So I was getting to go into all the high-end kitchens in Toronto and meet the chefs and like, you know, kind of see behind the scenes, meet people. And it was driving one of those little, you know, you ever seen those Japanese mini trucks on the road?
Yeah.
Those little tiny things. So I was delivering meat in one of those, right-hand drive downtown Toronto, just, you know, beating the hell out of the truck and meeting people, seeing different things. And like, you know, it was actually, I was meeting like celebrity chefs. I was like, it was actually the most amazing thing that ever could have happened to me, because I was being inspired every day by all these other things that I was getting to see in all these incredible kitchens that are like way out of my league. And I'm like, you know, you get to meet the chef and they want to see me. I'm bringing the goods, right? So they're excited to see me. It was a really cool vibe. So yeah, anyway, so I'm back to work, and eventually, actually, what happened was I met my wife, and well, she wasn't my wife at the time, obviously, but we were at a party. We met briefly. We had started dating, and I don't know. I had asked her, I'm like, why don't you start this, help me start this food truck? Because you know, I was trying to get this thing together, and she all of a sudden she said yeah, and she jumped on board, and you know, she put her money where her mouth was, too. Crazy enough, because I mean, she plays things safe. Women, I mean, you can't speak for all women, of course, but this one in particular was not one to make a crazy move into a food truck. She'd been to university. I mean, you know, she was not used to that type of life and craziness. Anyway, she jumped on, and you know, the rest is history. It's been 10 years since that.
Awesome. So she gambled on love.
She did, man, and
awesome.
Awesome. That's pretty amazing. She's an awesome lady. I'm yeah, pretty blessed in that department.
Claps in the chat. Claps in the chat for gambling on love.
Yeah,
indeed.
Yeah. So yeah, and then so we started the food truck. Took like I'd say first 4 months was really trying to figure it out. Like I first started selling these things called MOAs. At the time before I was working in a butcher shop. So I thought, you know, I'll do these meat skewers, and I'll barbecue meat skewers, and we'll sell them in the park. Everyone's going on this gluten-free kick at the time. And I'm like, it's perfect. It's gluten-free. Everyone loves meat, and we just put on a stick, and we call it meat on a stick.
Good to go.
Yeah.
That's what she said in the chat.
Wasn't good to go. Later, I literally sold 3 of them in like 4 months. So it wasn't what the people were looking for at the time. It wasn't a good idea. Anyway, that it's been up and down. Like, I mean, like any business, I'm sure, you know, things go up and down. I'm sure even with the haircut, and when you're getting started, you got the ups and downs while you're building your clientele. And
for sure. So
yeah, they didn't go for the meat sticks. One day I decided, let's try something different. So I made a batch of dough, like a pizza dough, and just decided to throw it on a grill and make like a fresh bread. We call them flatbreads. And we took that same meat skewer and we put it on the flatbread, and you know, we added some ingredients to it, and it became this thing that actually took off. I was on all of a sudden I got this call from a TV show that was like from the States, called it was a food truck. It was a big food truck show. It was pretty cool. Anyway, and you know what, kind of took off this thing, which got bigger and bigger, and you know, it kind of became unattainable. These things, I was trying to make them faster and faster. I'm trying to figure out how to you know, do business. How does this work? Do I like, you know, business? I had no experience coming in. I had no, like, catering was like maybe the only job I've ever not done actually in the kitchen, which is funny enough, because I'd worked in hotels, I've worked in fine dining restaurants, I've worked in butcher shops, I've worked, like, you know, a full different gamut of thing, but never catering. So I had really nothing to kind of go off. And you know, the food truck was just a different animal to figure out altogether. So anyway, we figured out this thing. People love the flatbreads, as do I. We'll be selling them on Thursday this week. We'll be down in Westdale selling them if everyone's out there living hungry on Thursday.
Westdale.
But they're really hard to keep up with. It's not something I can't go in the morning and make 400 flatbreads. I can make, maybe 100, and then I got to still go do the rest of the work. I have to butcher all the meat. We make every single ingredient from scratch. It's a time consuming thing. So, it wasn't really working out business wise. And I had taken, you go to these festivals every year, you're trying to figure out, like, do I want to be in this festival? People are calling me. They're like, oh, come to my festival. A lot of them, they want me to pay them. It's not that,
Right.
They're like, you want me to give you whatever, a couple of $1,000 to come be at your event. And then you want me to use my marketing power to make your event better. And I'm like, this thing just not making sense to me. Well, I thought we're paying you to bring the people.
Right.
Nonetheless, I'm not complaining. It was just an interesting.
It's the nature of the beast, right?
It's the nature of the beast. It's not like there's these movies on TV or the films about, people starting a food truck, and you open the window and you got a lineup of 200 people.
Right.
Or, it's just not like that. Especially, I mean, Hamilton, we have a lot of people, but it's not like Toronto where the population density is so packed, where I think it would probably that kind of street style of food would work more in that situation. And, trying to figure that out. Nonetheless, we've progressed as a business. Like, Sean, we opened a burger shop for a year and a half. We opened a sandwich shop for a year. Those are some of the I had ups with those and I had downs with those.
Right.
Unfortunately, during COVID, I opened a burger shop during COVID and closed a year and a half later. I'm proud of everything I did there. It was actually really an awesome thing that I wanted to do. But at the end of the day, I had to look at it and say what was taking from me. And, I just felt like I was being spread too thin.
Mm-hmm.
And I was not doing a great job anywhere. And at that point, I was like, man, you got a decision to make. What do you want to do? Do you want to do the catering? Do you want to do the burger shop? Do you want to do something else altogether? And, I decided, let's try and push the catering and see how that goes. And it seemed to really take off, and we've been running with that for a good long while. And
guys, you guys got to hit the link for Jonny Blonde. Like, I'm blessed to be in a circle, so I get to go to a lot of parties and spots where they're doing events. And I told Mrs. Ron C this morning, I don't make recommendations for fun, right, Mrs. Ron C? So you guys click on the link for Jonny Blonde, work event, party, thing in the park. Thing in the park. They might be all booked up and stuff for a little bit, but call them. They'll figure it out. And it's awesome stuff. So that's number one. Number two, everybody, thank you for being here. As I'm supposed to say, because it says it on the thing, it could be anywhere in the world. You are here with us. This episode 102. We're here
102.
Every Tuesday, 9:30 p.m. Fridays, 7:45 a.m. You can wake up with us. This is Jonny of Jonny Blonde Food Truck. He is a chef, man of many facets, and big in Hamilton. So I think the one thing that I saw, and I didn't know just from knowing you, but I saw it on an interview you did, is basically everything you cook, all the food and the ingredients, they're like from the Hamilton area, right? So there's a lot about that. And what first of all, what makes you just do that in general, and what does that bring of it as well too, I guess, for you? I mean,
so yeah, 100% of the food that I serve is from Canada. I would say 98% is coming from right here in Ontario, and then probably 90% or 80% are like real close, in the very close vicinity. But I do, I think everybody has to pick what it is that they're doing. And that's kind of like what I decided that my why was going to be. is local. Some people choose organic. Some people choose, you know, a particular type of food that they want to serve. You know, be it, you know, what any kind of whatever cultural, whatever. I just decided I'm going to try to work and make exciting the flavors that are growing around here. There's a lot of really cool farms doing a lot of cool things. Every year there's new stuff, and I just find out new stuff from, you know, kind of being in the loop, meeting local farmers, doing research. And I mean, there's a ton of stuff. Like I feel like I am personally never short on flavor. Do I like mangoes and bananas? Yes, I do. I absolutely do. Do I like tuna fish? Absolutely.
Right.
But do I want to be, can I be a professional at everything in the world? No, man, there's 200 countries. Each of these countries has, you know, different regions in it that are cooking different foods for different reasons, you know, and it's so all over the map.
Right.
The end of the day, I have my own philosophy on food, and I was touching on that with you yesterday about, you know, it being energy. And I feel, you know, I feel very happy and lucky to get to be, you know, I put energy into the food from which the farmers are also putting energy in. And I'm hoping that whoever's eating the food is going to do something good with the energy that I give them. And it's just, you know, I get to be a small piece of the circle of, you know, of food and energy in the world. And I really do. I care about the ingredients. And, you know, even better is you get to make relationships with the people that are growing your food and stuff like that. They become my friends over the years. And, you know, I feel like they have some responsibility to me, as opposed to just buying it from somebody you don't know at all. You know, they're not going to put something strange in there, you know, whatever. I'm not saying, you know, but I am saying these people they actually know me. Like, you know, the people that are growing my chicken, that are growing my beef, my lettuces, you know, certain things, peppers, I feel like they actually have responsible to me. They look me in the eye. I think it's a little different, and it's nice to form these relationships over the years. One of my favorite parts of the job. And you know, always trying to do better in that regard, right? Like, I always want to do more local, more smaller farm. Like, that's what means better to me.
Right.
You know, better to some people is always of the higher quality, which, you know, that's a different quality. Quality means different things to different people.
Right, for sure.
You know, like quality, like how something particularly looks or how it tastes, or what is it that, you know, means quality to you.
The cost for some people.
It is, exactly. So, I mean, yeah. So that's exactly what it is. And just, you know, I always, yeah, I'm trying to do better. And I'm my own harshest critic. I feel like no one cares as much as I do about where the food that I'm giving people is coming from. Like, and I don't know. Like I said, if you know, at the last moment I need something, I'm just gonna substitute it with something else. That's what I do, and that's, you know, me and my wife have, you know, fights about this stuff because she has to deal with the customer. And I'm like, I'm switching at last minute. I'm like, I'm sorry, I couldn't get this. It wasn't available. And, you know, it's like their wedding. Like, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear. I'm like, asparagus season's over.
String beans.
You know, we're doing green beans or whatever. So
you put her out front. She's the front.
Yeah, line. She don't like it, but she, you know, whatever. We get through. At least I'm passionate about what I'm doing, and she also is passionate about taking care of the customers. So it's, you know, I think actually it's a beautiful thing.
Good combo.
I wish there was somebody that was more passionate about finances, like, because neither of us are really super into it. You know, it's but, you know, so I always feel like we would never know where exactly how good or bad we're actually doing. But anyway, it's been 10 years.
That sounds like life. Yeah, that sounds like life.
I feel like we're doing pretty good. Yeah, I feel very, very blessed, and still getting to cook more and more, things that I like cooking, and I'm still, like I said, building those relationships, people, and my customers too. Like I said, I get to be at these awesome weddings and backyard parties and all kinds of wicked celebrations.
Is there an event that you really, really, really remember that really stands out to you?
Yeah.
That it's like, oh, that was either a good event or even, hey, I'm Jonny Blonde type event. One of those two.
Man, I mean, I don't know. I've had I've had so many crazy events. I mean, I've had ones that are. I've had a fire on my food truck. I've had a couple fires on my food truck, like full on fires.
Yeah.
Like dangerous, like full on, like the fire department gets called. So I mean those are memorable in a different way.
Yes, indeedy.
That was a crazy time. I just it was some really beautiful steaks. I was so proud of them. It was so funny. I was so proud of these steaks. I'm like, oh, these are the fattiest, best steaks I could ever. Funny enough, it was actually for my cousin. I hope she's watching.
We hope so.
My
too,
cousin's wedding. Yeah, I was so happy and proud of these beautiful steaks, and they started leaking. Like the fat starts rendering down, and you could see there was. I'm doing a lot of steaks. We're 80 steaks, maybe more, and I can see them starting to drip into the fire. I'm like, oh, I should watch that. And at a certain point, I was like, maybe I shouldn't put any more steaks on, because maybe I gotta maybe just clean this up. But it's go time. It's wedding.
Yeah.
People are eating at 7. That's how it goes. Like, people got to eat.
Right.
You got to have that food on the table. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna put them on. As soon as I put them on, I knew it was a mistake. They just, and I mean, I ended up, I went in there like that. I actually had to leave the truck. First off, the fire got so big and crazy. I had to leave the truck. There was people screaming, like running by, like there's people trying to like go get fire extinguishers, and I'm like, I'm actually outside looking at my food truck, thinking like my whole life, that's all my job, everything I literally put everything into my truck, all my savings, like everything I ever had, like into this, and it's burning to the ground. I'm like, and just something inside of me just like, man, you gotta fight, dude.
So you went in there and cooked
So
still?
I just climb. I literally, I try to go in the truck. I crawl on my hands and knees. The smoke is thick all the way to my knees. Like, I mean thick, so thick. When I have to crawl all the way in. I get to the grill. I know I'm at the grill where the steaks are, and I'm like, I got to pull them off. It's just going to cause even worse fire. So I stand up, and it's like, as soon as I stand up, the smoke is so thick in there that it's like, you can't see anything, and you can't even hear anything. Like, you actually go deaf. Like, you can't hear. I've never experienced anything like this. And I'm like, and then I just hold my breath and start ripping steaks off of the grill, put them in my tub, and somehow, I have no idea. Anyway, we got the fire extinguisher in there after that. There was people screaming with the fire extinguisher, and I was screaming at them to not let the fire extinguisher go until I'd gotten the steaks off the grill. Because then you can't eat the steaks once you got fire extinguisher on there. So I'm fighting with people outside. I'm like, don't you fucking dare, and pardon my French. I'm sorry.
No worries. Lots of French.
Yeah. No restrictions. It's after 10:14. We're good.
French, smoke,
Perfect.
Quebec.
Yeah. Okay. And so I get the steaks off. I somehow plate the steaks, and there was a few burned ones, but there was enough extra that everything actually went out. Nobody really in the wedding had realized.
No.
And the fire department came. They put it out. Crazier. It gets even crazier. So that was extremely intense. So the fire department comes, fires out. I'm like, most stressful evening in my life. I'm freaking out. I'm like, okay, I'm already nervous. I'm nervous about, whoever the fire department. I'm like, man, I'm gonna get in trouble for that. Like, what happens? Like, that was an accident. I screwed up, obviously, and so I'm like, I better just take my truck home. I'm gonna take the food truck home, even though I have to still serve like a late night sandwiches,
right,
for everybody at the wedding,
right,
and so I'm like, I take my truck home. I'm driving on the highway. All of a sudden, I hit a bump, and the fire suppression system goes off. So the entire thing fills up with chemicals. I can't breathe. I'm on the highway. I can't see. So I'm literally like, if you don't remember Ace Ventura, like out the window, literally out driving down the highway, out the side of the truck, just trying to make it to the off ramp, right, so I can at least pull over and let the whole thing air out. Anyway,
this is a movie, Johnny.
I get the truck back home. It's not over. It's not over. I get the truck home and I'm like, oh God. I'm like, just whatever. I get back in my car. I race back to my shop. I go and build sandwich. I'm getting late, obviously, because all the hoopla. You're supposed to have the late night sandwiches out for 11 or whatever. So I'm running behind. I somehow build these 100 sandwiches for the late night as fast as I can in my shop, wrap them up, put them on a tray. And it's raining outside. So anyway, I put it in my car. I drive down back to where the venue's happening. And there's a front stairs. It's just piss and rain. I get up to the front step and bang, fall. Back. My hand is in the air with a tray of 100 sandwiches and did not fall. Like, literally, like, broke my back. Like, I'm in the worst pain. The sandwiches are still up. It was an unbelievable day. I couldn't make it up. Anyway, nonetheless, the food got there, went off without a hitch, no problems. That was just a memorable. It was even worse. Like, somebody had cut themselves. One of my staff members had cut themselves too that day, so we were a man down. I mean, sometimes you can't buy a win, That was one of those days.
But your cousin still got married, though.
Pardon? Yeah, my cousin got married, and she's doing amazing.
There you go.
She's yeah.
And there's a story to tell.
And Jonny Blonde's on 102.
Yeah. I'm on 100 and podcast 102. I feel, yeah.
So
wow.
It was not all for nothing.
No, and there's more stories. Crazier.
Everybody, pour yourself a drink.
Yes.
Get ready.
You got a knife for it.
Salud. To the next one.
Yes, sir. Okay, we got a question from the chat. Let's get this one in real quick. Denise Jojo asks, what's your favorite meal to cook? What's the go-to?
Oh, I have to say, I'm going to say either Spanish tortilla or gnocchi. Gnocchi, I have to say, yeah, there's something that it gets ordered pretty often. So, I make a lot of it, and something I feel like I've watched the progression over the last 10 years, how much better it is now than 10 years ago. And that I'd say one of my favorite meals for sure. Another thing, a Spanish tortilla is kind of like eggs and potatoes and onions in the most simplest, delicious way. It's very. I was born in Spain, so it's very nostalgic. That brings me back to when I was a kid. It's like one of my earliest kind of food memories was eating those things. It's like an omelet, I would say.
I was gonna ask you if it was like an omelet.
Yeah, it's like a potato and onion omelet, but it's cooked in a special way that, and the trick is really to get the seasoning right, and you want to leave the egg a little bit wet inside, not too wet that you're going to gross out your customer, but moisture.
Yeah.
Not overcooked and dry.
Hit it, T-Dot. Hit it, man. I know you.
That's what she said. Spain. So you're born in Spain. What do you? When's the last time you've been back, or have you been back since you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I was. So my parents were missionaries They went to Spain, I guess, before I was born, to go convert Catholics to Christianity, or Protestant,
Here
which
we
is
go.
because Spain is a very Catholic country,
Mhm.
99% Catholic. So
Mhm.
they went there to convert Catholics.
Hmm.
My dad is now Catholic.
Oh, sometimes you just can't beat
and
the team, man.
and my mom is, she's spiritual but not, religious. But interestingly, they started a church
Hmm.
in the south of Spain, and the church is actually really big now. And I went back there with my mother in 2019, and we went to a service. And it was interesting because they're like, there's the founder.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it just bring back like a lot of, my mom's really not that same person that
That she wasn't. She
started that whole kind of branch of
Mm.
so it was, but nonetheless, I feel like I'm very at home in Spain. I love it there. I love speaking Spanish. It's some the I definitely, I like it. The longer I spend there, the more. The food is great there. It's a very relaxed atmosphere, super relaxed. It's a small, tiny little town in the south of Spain, like storybook stuff,
Mm.
especially for a cook. Like, you know,
Real.
yeah, lots of amazing seafood out of the Mediterranean, and the boats coming in. My childhood was just like, yeah, pretty cool. I feel like pretty special, and I don't know. I remember coming to Canada, and I always kind of felt a little bit like out of place. Not,
When did you come?
I came here when I was 7, so pretty young. But not, yeah. But yeah. Eventually, you figure it out, and I love this country now, and I've been here forever, and feel lucky to be here now.
For sure.
And I've built a
Big shouts out
cool,
to Canada.
yeah, built a cool life here, cool people. It's an incredible place.
Interesting. So you talk a lot about the passion for it. So what is it that just what keeps you inspired to be creative in the kitchen? Because I mean, sometimes you're cooking the same thing over and over. Like you say, you got your best dish, but what keeps you inspired to do that?
Yeah. Uh, I do a lot of wedding catering. So almost every weekend we're doing weddings, and a lot of times there are people who just want their traditional wedding meal. And you have to do the steak and chicken, and I'm happy to do that. I'm grateful to do that, and I just really, it's about trying to do it perfect is really like, and trying to perfect every single thing that you're doing and make it better. That's really where my passion comes from, is just trying to do it better, and better than the last time. And if you can just keep doing that, inspiring my team. I'm very lucky. I've had my team, my whole team's been with me almost 7, 8 years now. I haven't really lost many guys. So I mean, they inspire me to, inspires me to bring guys up from nothing, that they were dishwasher, or they were young guys coming in that really didn't know, and now these guys are like, they're making plates nicer than I make them, and they get, they got it. I get to watch my guys. I see where their strengths lie, right, and I try to let them kind of go in that direction. And to see people surpass me is the best thing ever. To watch my team, I'm good at certain things, and but I see other people good at certain things, so I try to let that flower, or fruit, I will say, because there's, I'm not the most organized, I'm not the best plater, I'm not the things. Together as a team, as long as I'm keeping the passion alive, and like one of the simple things even that keeps me inspired is, I mean, I think I don't know if it keeps me inspired. I think it keeps the team inspired. It is, so I butcher the chickens every week. It's like a thing I do. It's not something that you would probably find at almost any restaurant, where they're going to bring in whole chickens and butcher them down into breast, wings, legs, thighs, drums, all these different parts. But every single week I take 3 cases and I break it down, And it's like, it's great. It's, you know, it can be almost grunt work. I remember working for really high-end chefs, and they're like, oh, I want you to break down. They'd make me break down little quails, like these tiny little birds like this. They're like, I want you to debone it, 100 of them. Here you go. You know, just to be mean. Like,
Mhm.
all right, fine. I'll see you in 9 hours. Trying to take the little poor little muscle off this little baby bird. We can't even get nothing out of there. Anyway, it was the chicken thing. It was a good one of my old bosses who is now passed away. He always told me, he was like, you know, good chicken, there's nothing more important than really like good chicken. He's like, it's the thing. He's like, that keeps us alive, keeps the ball rolling. It was the gift from, you know, the earth. It's like these things that don't run away. They, you know, they give us eggs. They, you know, they're pretty easy to keep us alive and fed. And I don't know. It's just yeah, something I don't know. That's one of the things I like doing it. It's and it allows me to use super high quality chicken because I don't have to order just chicken breast or where you're going to pay, you know, super a lot more. You know, if you butcher it yourself, you're always going to have a much better price. So it allows me to use, you know, the best quality product that I can. And you know, just like anything, if you sweep the floors, you know, your guys see that. It shows that you care, and it shows that you're still humble and you're not like above everybody, and it keeps everybody inspired. So I would say that the whole team keeps me inspired. Even my dishwasher, you know, my cooks. I learn things from everybody all the time. Even, you know, just trying to do things better.
Thanks for sharing all that. Even at the beginning of this conversation, you shared with us that that cooks end up leaving restaurants all the time. In my barbershop, I have people who own restaurants, own food trucks, and they tell me sometimes that they feel like they are held hostage by their chefs. Right?
Mm.
You're sitting here telling me that you've had your crew with you for like over 7 years. That means that there must be some sort of mastery of personalities that you have going on. How do you manage? What is your gift in regards to that?
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I was, like I was saying, I kind of grew up under some really hard, strict, you know, unnecessarily, like it wasn't a nice place to go to work, right? And I just think if we got to be there for 8, 12, realistically in my line of work, 16-hour days is normal for me in the summers. If we're gonna have to be together, like let's make friends, and let's feel good about what we're doing. Because you can, sometimes I got to make burgers and fries, sometimes I got to make tacos, sometimes I'm making these fancy little appetizers on the plates. I'm serving judges, I'm serving, I do the full gamut of everything. And sometimes, I do 5 burger gigs in a row, and I'm like, man, I feel like I'm just like a burger cook. I'm flipping burgers here, and I feel like I got more in me than just that.
Right.
And my wife, she slaps me. It's like, just do it, be a man. And she's right.
Flip the damn burger.
What's a job? It's a job. Yeah. And you got to take your pride and make the best fucking burger I can. But sometimes it does get hard sometimes to maintain the passion and the thing. Mind you, now I've made it like I always do. I make it difficult. So on my food truck, I put a wood oven. So I cook everything on a wood fire. So every job I do, I show up at the job and I have to light a fire. I literally have to do like caveman styles and start a fire and wait for the coals to die down and, make something edible out of a fire. So it's not that easy. And even doing burgers is difficult, and doing them perfect is even more difficult. So I'm always striving, but I have my days where I feel like, I could be doing more or thing, but I my wife keeps me, she has a funny way of keeping me
in the right direction. Right?
Yeah. Cause I have a thing in my family, like we like change. You know, we can just drop things on a dime and just be like, boom, just go do something new completely.
Let's go start a church.
Leave that business behind. And you know, that's not the right thing to do a lot of times.
No,
Sometimes
I mean, it
it's
is
good.
like if that's what it is, that's what
It's
it
also
is.
not. It's also not the wrong thing to do. Sometimes.
Right.
No, you're right.
Right?
You're right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, I'm 42 right now, so I feel like I've been doing this 10 years, and I do feel stuck in here. I'm like, oh, get itchy, right?
You know, I was listening to a podcast today, and there was a star on there talking on this podcast, and he was talking about like he has got to certain heights in life. Like he's sold out shows, like comedy shows. He sold out comedy shows in Madison Square Garden, sometimes 2 shows per night, right? And he says to himself, the next time he comes to Madison Square Garden, he only sells it out once. And he's thinking to himself, man, like I'm really slipping, like I'm not doing as well as I should be. Not realizing like I'm doing amazing. I'm doing amazing just because I didn't do it twice. Some people don't ever do it ever, right? And you're saying, you know, you feel stuck and maybe you don't feel like you should be doing something different, when really you maybe just need to appreciate that you're Jonny Blonde.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Just appreciate it. Yeah.
Because as he's saying that, I'm sitting here. Sorry, Fitz. As Fitz is sitting there saying that, I'm sitting there going, "Yeah, you. Number one, you are Jonny Blonde, and I've been able to see you kind of evolve as well. So it's not that you're, even when you say that, it's not that you're sitting on your hands, right? You're always still looking for the next thing and the next innovation, and looking to, I mean, change yourself, but also change the way that you're interacting with people, change the way that you're cooking and different things like that. So yes, indeed. Sorry, just wanted to echo a little bit, throw a little bit extra on the fire from what Fitz was saying. So
put a little bit more steak fat on the fire.
Yeah. No, I do feel lucky. Honestly, honestly, I could have never imagined that. Honestly, that it actually it turned into this. And funny enough, so I got the name Jonny Blonde working in a kitchen in Burlington more than, probably 20 years ago. And there was just literally like six Johns working in the same place. So the guys had numbers, right? They were like Johnny 1, 2, 3, 4, and I was like, man, I don't want no number. And
Johnny 5 is alive.
My friend Eddie, this guy I didn't know at the time. He's like, Jonny Blonde, he's Jonny Blonde. Like it fucking stuck instantly. Like everybody, like right away. Like that's. I mean, I pretty much lost my blonde hair. It's brown now, but the name stuck. It was a cool thing, and I appreciate that guy. It was funny. He was a great chef, amazing. His food was incredible. Sometimes you meet people whose food, man, just like it touches you. It's like, and they inspire you, and cool, man. I'm lucky to I've had a lot of people like that in my life, to be honest.
Is there anything that you've eaten that you don't make that you're like, man, how do they make this?
Yeah, I mean, I would say sushi is like the one thing I won't touch. I leave that to the professionals. I just think, like, I've heard stories, and I don't even know how true they are, but that they spend the first 3 years of their apprenticeship just cooking rice. So if they're spending 3 years cooking just rice, for me to just put some rice on a thing, on a stick, on a bunch of sticks, and roll up some sushi like a split, that ain't right, man.
Right.
Like, I don't know. So I really have the utmost
respect that.
for. I have utmost, and I love sushi. Like I love pizza. I love sushi. I don't make a lot of pizza. I do make pizza. Like I said, I got a wood oven, so I do kind of. I
you have a Breakroom?
Pizzas, I find an interesting subject altogether. It's its own animal. there's so many different types and styles, and
What style do you like?
I'm a classic guy. I like those real thin crust, Neapolitan,
Oh,
almost
so
like
you get pizza.
personal.
You get pizza in Spain?
They ish, not really. No, I'd say the food, yeah, no, they don't really do pizza in Spain. I mean, they do, like everywhere, like everywhere in the world's doing pizza, but is it like, do they have their own style? Not really. They're just kind of copying the Italians,
Okay.
or just having like tourist food. Here it's just everyday food. I mean, but in Spain, I feel like sometimes they're just tourist destinations. So it's like pizza, pizzaiolo, or whatever, and so it's just kind of for tourists. Oh yeah, oh hell yeah! I was at Janice today.
Janice.
Janice. I was there today. I had her for lunch. It was incredible.
Hold on 1 second. You had it for lunch? You said?
What?
You said you had it for lunch?
I had jerk for lunch. Yeah.
Okay.
From Janice. Are you guys familiar with the spot?
Not me.
I've heard of it.
On Teesdale?
I've heard of it. Never been there.
No? Yeah. Really, I highly recommend Janice. Yeah, man. She works in there by herself. She's an amazing woman. Honestly, I don't know anyone else that runs a restaurant by herself. She's literally in there. She's in there 6 days a week, and she just grinds by herself. And I don't know, her
This is
chicken's
in the
amazing.
Hammer?
Pardon?
This is in the Hammer?
Yeah, downtown, Teesdale. It's a bit like right downtown, central.
Nice.
Downtown.
Central, yeah. But that's one of my favorite spots. I go there once a week.
What's your favorite meal from there?
I mean, I'll get the jerk chicken. I'm like I do like oxtail. I like curry. I like a lot of different things. I mean, like also like Trinidadian, like the doubles, Caribbean food. I mean, there's so many different things to like. But generally, I'm like I go to one spot for one dish. Like that's like my thing. So if I want chicken, I'm going there.
Gotcha.
I go to Vietnamese food. That's like my other thing. I like. I don't know if it's not a guilty pleasure. I love Vietnamese food. I find it very fresh and like, but I get a 450 or a 448 every day, every week for the last 20 years.
Don't mess up
I
the
walk
numbers.
in. I don't even have to order. I go in. The same with my coffee in the morning. I go to the same place. I have my coffee every day. I walk in. They're like, just 332. He's having an Americano with nothing in it, 2 ice cubes. I'm a person when it comes to food like that. I'm definitely a person of repetition. Repetition.
Nature of the beast, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Quick shout outs. What do we got? What do we got here? Che La Soul's here, everybody. That boy Jers here. Oh, wait, Che La Soul chilling and grilling, everybody. This Sunday, chilling and grilling. Che La Soul will be DJing. Sweet Touch Foundation, shout out.
Party over here.
Yeah. Cordy Queen. Or sorry, the Cordy Queen. Big up. I never shout out the Cordy Queen on here. So I just wanted to shout out the Cordy Queen with the extra E.
Big shouts out to you.
Wonder why there's the extra E in there. But,
T. Dennis, what up with you?
Once again, episode 102. This is Jonny Blonde. Let me drop this link one more time for the Jonny Blonde. Everybody, you missed the beginning. Jonny Blonde is a chef, wonderful food truck in Hamilton, wonderful catering service. You don't know, now you know, and click that link and have your event with them because they're awesome and the food's good.
Yeah.
Flint's still here.
Flint. Yes, Flint.
Flint's had an event or two with Jonny Blonde. Right?
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. Flint had some
big up, Flint.
Big up, Flint, indeed. Oh man, that is awesome. That is awesome. What's your if you can do anything you wanted to, what would you do right now? What's the thing that you want to do? What are you eyeing?
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm working on I'm working on something very special, and I don't know exactly what form it's going to take, but I feel like, it's something that's kind of, I feel is almost finished, but still has, a million miles to go. And that is this, in 2019, I bought this trailer that, it's a 30-foot trailer, and one of the walls, it turns into like a transformer. Like the walls fold down, and the whole back folds down, and it opens up into like a fine dining restaurant.
Like a real trailer, like a big trailer.
Okay. Like a big trailer, yeah.
30 foot, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's 30 foot by 8 foot, and then it goes 30 feet by 15 or 16 feet wide, because it opens up,
right,
and actually goes to like 38 feet. So I had this idea to kind of do a TV show where I tow this truck with this trailer with my food truck kind of across the country, and work with local chefs in each province and curate a dinner for 24 lucky guests, whoever they might be, bring them together for an awesome evening in a very special place where you couldn't otherwise have a dinner, like on the edge of a cliff overlooking the ocean, or in the mountains in BC, or in an alleyway in Montreal, or somewhere unlogical places where you could so anyway, I don't have anybody producing the show. I basically have been building the trailer. I kind of just put it on its side. And, once COVID hit, people weren't allowed to get together anymore. So I was just like, spend all this dough on this thing. And, I kind of, I don't know, we all got whatever. I went through some stuff with the COVID, and nonetheless, it was what it was. Now, I'm working on it again. It's actually looking amazing. It's going to be a really, really cool thing. I'm thinking about. I'm trying to figure out how to kind of put this whole trip together. Like I've got to first of all book the time off my clients. So I've got to book a year in advance, right? Because we're booked a year in advance for weddings or really big events. So I've got to say, maybe next September, I'm going to take a month and a half off in order to, facilitate this trip. And then I've got to find someone to basically produce the show, because I'm not a TV producer. I don't know anything. I got a band of merry pirate men that work with me. I think would make a cool show. I think it'd be freaking hilarious.
It sounds amazing.
They're in bands, like some of my crew, they're in bands, they're in all kinds of stuff. So I mean, I think it would be an interesting show, whatever. And like I said, I am passionate about Canadian food, and I'm passionate about other human beings, learning off them about the land and the ingredients that would be in their area. So I don't know, just kind of a dream I had and something I'm working on. I'm putting it out there, and I'm hoping that I'm gonna either go and find some kind of go talk to Netflix or some producers, or the right thing is gonna come along to click it in. Maybe it's just an internet show. Maybe it's I'm not sure, but I feel like nonetheless, I feel like I got it. I got to finish it, and I gotta just see it through. My family has a weird thing of like doing something 95% and then just like walking away. Right. And I feel like this is one of those things. It's like, don't walk away. It's so
have
close.
To get it done.
Just and I get it. My wife is like, man, are you crazy? Where are you gonna get the money to do that? Like, it's gonna cost you a lot of money. Where's people going to sleep? You're going to rent hotels for your whole staff and the people that are shooting filming the camera, and you're talking $100,000 in order to do something like that. And she's, and I believe the money's out there. I'm like, man, I'll just tell people and they'll want to support it. She's like, are you kidding me? She's like, you seen the streets right now? She's like, the streets are brutal. It's like, I don't know if people can get behind that right now. And I'm like, well, I don't see no harm in trying.
Look what we got
You
here.
never know.
T. Dennis says, I was a tour manager for bands. This sounds up my alley.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, you never know. One of the 13 people up in here might be helpful. See, look at that. Right?
Yeah. Man, that's why I'm putting it out there.
But even as you say it, I'm like, that sounds awesome. Like I'd watch that show, and I'm like, okay, everybody, I know you think I'm biased because I'm saying this, but think about it, like that's a cool idea, and you just never know. And I think that's why we were talking about it as well. You got to
and again, I mean, I think the food is definitely like a big aspect of it. The other chef is a big aspect of it. The ingredients in each province are a big aspect of it. But I think the biggest aspect of the show should be the dinner, the people talking at the dinner, the time and the human beings getting together, that being facilitated. That's what it's all about. That's why we cook all the food in the first place. We cook the food so that people can enjoy each other. And I think, I don't know, that to me, I don't know how to extract that juice from something. And I'm hoping that I can find somebody somewhere that kind of gets that. And I don't know, we're able to convey that.
I can see it. We're going to go find somebody, Johnny. We're going to make that, because I see I have an hour episode planned out in my head right now. It's great. Like the episode starts, we're on the road. Where are we going next? Because we ended with a cliffhanger on the last episode, of course.
Yeah.
Right. So now it's like they started on the road, and here we go. And you get into town. It's man, I got it, man. Let's go find some.
We got a place to be in like 9 hours, and we got these live lobsters that are dying. We got to take them.
You gotta hustle, man. We gotta.
Yeah.
And then the last 20 minutes or so is the dinner and that stuff, but it's all about how we get there. It's about the journey.
Yeah. It is about the journey. I mean, I'm learning that about business and life, really, that it is about the journey.
Aren't we all, man?
Because you never get where do we get?
Yes, the journey never stops, right?
No. You think you're there, and then you're searching for something else. For sure. I mean, and that's like going back to the Jonny Blonde thing, being grateful that I am Jonny Blonde, because being happy with that. And I am happy and grateful, but I got to remember that. Sometimes I forget, and I just, I want more, or like, I feel like I got to do more, and I'm enough. That's enough.
Do you remember your first time? Your first like event? Yeah,
I do. Yep, I would say one of my first event was for one of my friend's sisters, who was like she was like a high-powered, big, she's into big pharma. So it was like a big pharma meeting I was catering.
Yeah.
And she gave me an opportunity. And man, I was so nervous. I was going to ask about that. And I think now, like, man, like, oh, how much better I am at doing stuff now. Like, it's so, and like, yeah, I remember going, like, you just going into things. I'm literally like, it's like like a boxer walking into their boxing match. Like, I'd have to get myself like pumped up. Like, I'd be so nervous to cook for these people that I think that are out of my league. And sometimes you forget that it's just food. You need energy to eat, so to live your night. Like, and I'm always like, it's got to be amazing, and of course I want it to be. But it's, at the end, it's still just food. Like, so, yeah. But yeah, no, I'm, shout out to Nicola Otter.
I hear you when you
for hiring me that day. And she still uses me. So
when you speak about the nerves, it reminds me like just of like at the beginning of our conversation, T, that when we were talking, when I told you that I was referred a client from Andrea Sampson, and just because she referred the person to me, I actually wanted to say no because of nerves, like, but then I said to myself, there's nothing that you can't do. So why do you want to say no just because you got a referral from, like, this big person, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, man, I want to refuse it because I don't want to mess it up. But then I'm like, why would I mess it up? So
Yeah.
that is, you know, so then I just, you know, responded back, yeah, sure, send them at this particular time. Right. But I'm a human being, you know, and like you said, you know, nerves. You know,
Yeah.
you know that
But I
there's
mean, a
nothing.
haircut is like food. Like you get one chance. You don't,
True.
you don't get a second bite, or you don't get
True.
like, if you fuck up the hair, like, man, yeah, you can't fix that. You can't, oh, let me put that back on for you. Don't worry. You'll be good.
Right.
You know?
And like you
Yeah.
said, you said like she's like you know, like a big wig, you know, big farm, and you know, it's a big event. And I was thinking, you know, this is like a big person that this referral is coming from. And I'm like, I don't need this stress of not making them happy. Do you know what I mean? I could just not do it and continue with my life and be fine. But I'm like, no, like I can do it and make them happy. So let me do it.
Yeah. And now you're probably so comfortable doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you wouldn't even think twice.
But what I'm saying is this happened today. You know, whereas
Wow.
this was today where I'm like, I'm way super comfortable.
Yeah.
But still, even in me being so comfortable myself, there's still the moment of me getting this referral from someone that is that, you know, level to me, that has me reconsider, am I
what I do?
Right.
Right. But it's crazy that, you know, you let your mind run sometimes.
Right.
Because a lot of things that happen that impact our lives are just created in our brains, right?
Yeah.
Or in our mind. It's just like we create a narrative and we run with it, right? And sometimes if we can put all that noise away, or when we put that noise away, just, you light up your clip, or you light up the oven, the wood oven, you got it lit, right? And once that happens, once that starts, you just remember what you're actually here for, and all the noise is just gone. But it's really hard to get there, because I think we do a lot of that, right? We just have these things running through our minds that we can't do this, or this is something that's wrong or bad or whatever. And once you get down to it and really just start doing what the hell you do, right, then that's where it just really, all the noise ends. So it's crazy that we just get in our own way sometimes when we have something that's wonderful, or a talent that's wonderful, or whatever it is, and we almost talk ourselves out of being amazing. So
yeah.
Funny to hear that.
I've done that once. Yeah. I actually, very interestingly, was like I was saying, I dropped out of high school at a young age, and when I was 23, I decided I wanted to go to university. So I wrote my GED and applied to university as a mature student. And I didn't even have grade 9 math. They let me in university and said, you can come to university if you pass university calculus. And I remember walking into calculus, without grade 9 math, and like it was literally speaking another language. I didn't understand a single word for 3 hours.
What the hell's an X?
I honestly, I was terrified. And that same day, I had applied to this TV show that was called the Superstar Chef Challenge, and it was like one of the first TV shows ever, like cooking shows. That was like It had like that guy from Britain on it, like Jamie Oliver. It had like all these big names on it, and they called me on the day that I wrote my first exam, and I failed miserably. Like, I mean, I got smoked. I didn't understand a single question. I was like an absolute failure, and they called me on that same day, and I was just like, you know what? No. And I didn't go on the show, and I regretted it. Like my whole life, I feel like I maybe could have did awesome there. I could have killed it. Like I was a great chef at that. When I was a kid, I was a crazy good chef, because I really hadn't learned a lot of the rules that kind of comes as you go through cooking, and chefs, kind of beat into you all these different rules. I really didn't have all that yet. So I was pretty wild, and like, I felt like my menus were untamed, and, I didn't have the rules. I didn't have the local thing. I didn't
Right.
You know, I was just crazy, and I was coming up with great stuff that was like freaking amazing. Like I thought, and even when I look back now, I'm like, man, that's pretty interesting stuff you were putting together as a kid. And yeah, but I for forever I was mad at myself for saying no that day, and I was just because I just felt like a failure. I was already like, man, I suck. I'm not gonna do good. Like I just
Yeah.
and
You just
and
talk
now
yourself out of it.
you know I'm not scared of anything now.
Right.
I've I've failed a couple times after that. Since failures, I feel like they just make you tougher. Like
For sure.
Yes.
Lessons
Yes.
learned.
I feel like I have a long life to live, and I got time to do more shit and maybe fail some more and have some more wins too.
Feel good.
It's like a 50-50, man. You win some, you lose some. Hopefully you can fight tomorrow. I don't know.
Indeed.
That's yeah. I don't know.
That is
Yeah, I guess you just want to win more than you lose. And that's
at the end of the day, you got more points
living.
on the board, right?
That's
as long as you got
living.
more points on the board, you're good.
Yeah.
You're gonna win some, you lose some, but more points on the board. But it's a battle to learn that as well, right? Because sometimes those losses are tough, right? And sometimes they're unexpected. Like you're on a good streak and then just oh shit, right? So sometimes it's tough to get up. But as long as you keep wanting to get up, I think that's the most important.
Yeah, I remember a tough loss I had was I was doing a dinner, and it was like I used to do these pop-up dinners in Hamilton back in the day years ago, and it was this fancy dinner we were doing, and there were some other chefs coming in from Toronto. So I was already nervous working with other chefs, and I whatever. I'd set up my station to make whatever I was making, some risotto or whatever it was. And I handed it. I had it 3/4 ready, and I had to go deal with the meats. So I was like, I let one of my guys, and I gave him a pot, and I said, all this liquid goes into the pot, and just keep cooking it for 20 minutes. I'll be back to pick it up, and then I'm going to take it upstairs and go serve it out. So everything, I have everything counted in my mind. Everything's, you don't want to have much waste, or that's the nature of the business that I'm in. So anyway, I get up there, and it's a fancy dinner. Like people are in suits, and people are out. They've paid good money to be at a very special event. And, this was still, I was still pretty fresh. And one of my cooks didn't put he didn't put all the sauce, all the stock into the thing. He had held back like 5 liters, which is like 20 portions. Okay. So where I'm serving, and like I can see the line of the amount of plates I have left to serve, I got to serve whatever, another 30 people. And I'm like looking at my portion, and I'm like, man, this looks like only 10 portions, and I got 30 plates there. Like something's way off here. Like,
right.
And I had I had triple counted everything. Like I'm like, this is friggin' impossible. Like, what is happening right now? I'm like, how many plates? I'm start freaking out on everybody around me. Like, and that's what happens when you suck sometimes, is you start you're reaching for someone to blame other than yourself. And maybe there was someone to blame, but really, at the end of the day, I'm the one that's standing up. At the end of this, I'm going to stand up and say, this was my dish. And they don't care if my cook didn't, and maybe I didn't scare my cook enough to put it in there, or I didn't, he didn't understand, whatever. They don't care. They just look at, I didn't get my food, or I got a very tiny bit of food.
Right.
And man, I remember just having to stand up in front of like 150 people and like just face my shit, my screw up, man, and like, like I just wanted to hide and never come back, like ever. I remember just like, like just wish I could just fucking disappear right now.
So in a situation like that, what would make him not put the entire stock that you had asked him to put?
I could never figure it out to this day.
I don't know what the fuck's wrong with that guy, basically.
I don't know, man. You know what? Man, I got love for him, but man, he fucked me that day. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I remember because I found the stock and I'm like, oh my God, no, like it's here. Anyway, nonetheless, I got love for him. I got love for him. It was there's just nothing you can do sometimes. I was just, man, I just had to eat it.
But that's what's up, right? Like I said, you got to
life
stand up in
lessons.
front of the people.
You can get humbled. You can always get humbled.
All right, big question here, because you sound like a busy guy. You're doing the chickens and you got the weddings and stuff like that.
Putting out the fires.
Yeah, you're a firefighter, right? Like radio personality, like voiceover king.
Selling trinkets in strip clubs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Damn, there's a lot to this guy. He's got layers. He's got.
We could talk for a while still.
All right. The alarm goes off. Everything. The alarm goes off soon, but we can keep it going. But what in the entire world does Jonny do for fun? How do you have fun?
Yeah.
From food?
You know what? I like going out. You know what? As I'm getting older, so I've made it a thing of jogging my whole life a little bit. I'm not like an avid crazy runner, but I do. It's something that I can jog a little bit. Yeah. And I smoked cigarettes for 20 years. And even while I smoked, I would always jog.
I thought you were going to say even while you jog.
I quit. I don't smoke anymore. I don't. But it was something I gave to myself. And it's just something that just gives me a peace and quiet for 20 minutes a day, or 30 minutes or however long I go out that day. And it's something I enjoy. I enjoy my wife. Those are Mexico, I will say in the wintertime, I boogie the hell out of here and I go to Mexico. Last year I went for a month and a half.
Okay. I was just looking at trips. I think I want to go to Mexico.
My mom lives there. She moved there about 6 years ago. And she loves it down there. She's and honestly, it sparked a serious love for Mexico for me. The people, the culture. I mean, there's just a lot I never really understood about Mexico, how big of a country it is, and very rich in a lot of ways. And like I said, I'm a food guy. I'm about fresh food, new stuff. I already speak Spanish, so it allows me to get into a little bit deeper than probably just the average.
I would, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, yeah, the average tourist, I definitely can get a lot deeper in there. My mom, first of all, just lives in general real Mexico.
They can take
like
you to
where?
the right spot first place.
She lives in a town called Valladolid.
So it's like, is that coastal? Is that in the middle, central?
It is. It's 2 hours from the coast, so it's like Tulum area, but like 2 hours inland.
Okay. So not as far as was it Sinaloa?
No. It's
where the gunshots and all that stuff was happening.
No, it's so funny. It's actually, there's a town about 45 minutes from my mom's house called Merida, and it's big. I mean, there's 1 million people, and it's the safest city in North America. Safer than Hamilton, safer than Toronto, and everyone's
that sounds crazy. How could anyone?
Everyone's talking about Mexico. Every time I tell somebody, I go to Mexico, they're like, yo, and I'm like,
you're like, I'm good.
I'm good. I mean, it's a big country. It's a very big country, and like anywhere, if you look for sure, you can find it. You can find it anywhere.
I didn't realize Mexico was so big until I was there in January, and at that time, that's when all of the cartel stuff was happening, right?
You're shooting at the planes.
People knew that I was in Mexico, and they kept on, sending messages. Yo, is everything okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, stay in your hotel because there's gunfire. And I'm like, I don't hear it. What are you talking about?
I'm in like 18 hours from that. Like,
right. That's what I learned. So I'm walking on the street one day and I see this lady and I ask her, I'm like, you know what? People are telling me that I should be careful of all this cartel gunfire and whatnot. And she goes, "Oh, that is like, if you want to find out, you have to drive for like 36 hours or fly for 5 hours." I'm like, "Mexico is that big?" She goes,
Real, eh?
"You're way away from that." But I
Yeah.
didn't realize how big that place was until then.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
No, yeah. And there's some good food down there, man. I like it.
I enjoyed my food when I was down there.
I never been. That sounds like I gotta go.
Mr. Johnny
Yeah.
Blonde, what we did not share with you this whole time, you're talking about butchering your chickens and your meat, is that I over here am a vegan.
Oh yeah.
He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I-
Why don't you tell me this at the start? No, yeah.
No, that's I have amazing respect. I cook
that's a
vegan all the
choice.
time.
I was gonna ask you. So, do you get requests?
Oh yeah, I have to. I mean, I'm cooking for the general public every day of my life. So, we're doing, it's something that's probably, since I started 10 years ago, since I started the business, it's something it used to be, I would say 5% of people. So like in 100, you're going to do 5 that are, vegetarian or vegan. And now we're looking at 10 or 15 out of 100 usually. I'm just talking generally, like, if because 100's a nice round number that I do on an often basis. So I can,
Right.
I know how many vegetarians are more or less are going to be there, and it's a growing number.
Right.
And it's honestly, I love, yeah, you have to respect the vegetables, man. Like, I mean, that's like it's, I don't know. It's probably usually the most interesting part of the dish for me. Really is the vegetables, and finding what are they going to be.
Mm-hmm.
What time of year is it? In the winter time, I'm always dealing with a lot of greenhouses and stuff like that. So I go to the Toronto food terminal once a week. So you got to get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and you drive to Etobicoke, and they have the food terminal there. And the food terminal is divided into 2 different sections. So there's like the world food terminal. So all the food from the entire world that comes in on planes, you name it, man. They got everything you could ever imagine by the cases stacked up to the roof. And then there's an outside section which is only food from Ontario, and they got like police officers walking around inspecting stuff, make sure there's only Canadian food outside, and the other one they don't care, like, because it's from all around the world. So anyway, so I get up once a week and I go to the food terminal to see what the greenhouses are growing, and obviously buy some of it. In the wintertime, we're like, if I'm going to cook Canadian food, I have to work with greenhouses, because that's all there is. Like, you're working with some stored cabbage, some stored apples, carrots, celery roots, parsnips. Kind of, there's vegetables that are just kind of good that they store really well over the winter.
All right, wait, hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on. Remember, Johnny, yesterday I told you that my alarm's gonna go off, and no matter what we're talking about, I'm just gonna stop you. All right, I'm just gonna see Mrs. Ron C. She's probably giggling in the background. I was probably a little bit fidgety, but now it's part of the pregame that I tell them, because it's almost.
Is it?
So, what? We're gonna keep going. So hold your thought for a second for me, because in 15 seconds it'll be 11:11. So everybody, we're gonna do this definitely tonight. Jonny Blonde was telling us about his show, his cross-country Canadian trek and venture. We're gonna put all the good juju in that with the 30-foot trailer.
Yes. Have this
it is
manifest.
now 11:11. So we're gonna everybody ready? This is to Johnny. All the good juju to Johnny.
Yo, thank you.
All right. The good energy.
Thank you so much.
11:11's in the chat. Everything like that. Yeah, this is a cool story, Johnny. This is like a real.
I feel that. Thank you.
Yeah,
honestly,
no, you can feel it, right? I can. Yeah, there's more. Don't worry. You got like 30 seconds more of juju coming at you.
Oh,
11:11's in the chat, y'all.
Bring it.
Man. Right. So, and everybody else as well, right? Just whatever you're looking
that's
to
going
do.
right back out too. I'm sending it out. good
and it's
juju.
July. It's July the 11th,
7-Eleven.
so it's 11, 7-Eleven, 11, and they all picked this day purposely because of that. So big up to partner, to the wife. One more time, 5 more seconds. You got to breathe in the juju.
Breathe it in. Whatever it is you want to manifest, let it be.
Breathe that out.
Let it manifest.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you, Johnny, my memory is bad, so I forget where you guys were talking about something. We can continue.
Well, I want to ask him because he was speaking about the Toronto food terminal.
There you go.
Where is that, or is that a secret location only for?
No,
Knob
it's
Hill
not.
Farms.
So
Isn't that where Knob Hill Farms
You can
was?
actually see it from the.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
From the Gardner.
Right.
You get off at Park Lawn, so it's just past Park Lawn Road, and you can see it from the highway on your left hand side. It's kind of like, it looks like a big parking lot, and it's really kind of, doesn't look like much. It's a lot of, it's kind of interesting. Like there's just all these kind of like big trailers that show up there, and you're like, you got to talk to people. It's a crazy thing that, like, I don't know. I always kind of dreamed about going there, and then one day I just bought a membership and I figured it out. So then you got to like go and make friends. Like it's like this thing you got to go do. You got to know Dave. You got to know like all these guys and what they sell. Like, what's inside all these trailers. You're like, hey, what's this guy got, and how much are the peppers this week? And then you walk you walk and go check the next guy who's got the potatoes, who's got this, who's got that. It's a cool thing. It's like a market, but it's like tractor trailer loads.
So does this have an effect on the cost of like your service? So you're saying in the wintertime you're still gonna source Canadian products. Canadian products are gonna be hard to get because now you're dealing with only greenhouses.
Yes.
Greenhouse products come at a premium at that particular time.
Yes.
So does your hamburger?
They do for sure, especially
your hamburger
because,
like $6 more.
Yeah, it's coming a lot more because the California stuff is actually still, or the Mexican is a lot cheaper still at that time. No, I love the Mexicans, and I love Mexico. I'm, but you just got to decide what it is that you do, and that's that for me. It's not that I have a problem with Mexican produce or California produce. I understand there's a lot. It's not even particularly like, everyone's on the climate change thing on how many kilometers are on your food, right? Like they talk about 13,000 miles on your head of lettuce coming from California. I don't really think that does make sense to put 13,000 miles on a head of lettuce. Do I have a huge issue with it? Everyone's got to eat. And I understand, like, at the end of the day, you can only afford what you can afford, and you got to eat, what's affordable to you. So, but whatever, I have decided to be strict and to just serve Ontario food and to get creative with the awesome stuff and to pay more for the awesome stuff that the guys are doing around here. And it's gonna, I honestly, I think I'm keeping people in business. I do think that there's, I'm having a small effect in purchasing these things all the time, and other people deciding to go into business and grow different stuff. I feel like there has been more and more over the last 5-6 years of interesting things. Like I can get local ginger now. I can get local turmeric. I'm learning how to dry my own spice. Like sumac spice is a very interesting. We don't grow lemons in Canada, right? So the closest thing would be like a spice called sumac, which grows all over Hamilton. It's everywhere, and it's super lemony. So it's very cool. It's those little red, they look like marijuana buds, but they're red. You'll see them everywhere. That's a spice called sumac. And you got to dry it and process it, and really delicious spice. Something I'm kind of just using more and more of in the latest while. So it's just an interesting thing.
Are you a movie guy?
Not huge. No.
TV shows?
No, not a lot of time.
No time, huh?
No, I just I get home a lot of times. I'm just so tired when I get home. I'll put something on and I'm just like, I'm done.
Okay, so then music.
Yeah, music. Yep.
Who do you love? Who do you listen to?
I mean, I'm into a lot of different music, man. I'm into everything from you know, I'm into certain like there's nothing I'm really like. I don't have one genre. I mean, I definitely grew up listening to hip hop. At a certain point, I got into like old school reggae. I love old school reggae.
Okay.
I'm into Spanish music. I'm into cumbia, which is like a Colombian type of music. I'm into reggaeton, which is like more of like a Puerto Rican style music. Bachata, which is like another Puerto Rican style music.
Is Jonny Blonde
I
a
love
dancer?
Spanish music. I love hearing Spanish. Something about listening to Spanish makes me.
Are you a dancer, Johnny?
Yeah, I am a dancer.
You said bachata. I'm like, nobody listens to bachata unless they can bachata.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not great at it, but I am a dancer. I enjoy myself. I let myself move, man.
Hips don't lie.
Even no, they don't. And when I'm in the kitchen, it's like working in the kitchen is a dance, and especially even in a food truck, even with like my guys, like it's a thing. You don't really want to be bumping into people. It's a thing. Like it's yeah, it's an interesting thing, and music kind of helps facilitate that sort of thing. Like you see someone reaching in, you just back out.
Yo, sick.
Yeah, so it's a cool thing. We call it a dance anyway. That's it. It's some, and I feel like bachata music has this repetitive thing, and it's fast enough that keeps you you can just keep working all day. Like they're long days. The kitchen's a long day, and it's just something that just keeps you moving. It can just you just pass hours and hours peeling potatoes, whatever it is you're doing. Just you keep the pace up, and it's good.
Right.
But yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of music that I hate. I'm not like I really dislike that music or heavy. I'm not really into like heavy rock and stuff. Like I don't know, it's a bit much for me. But but whatever. And if I could be at a concert and enjoy it, and I see when people are playing live, and I respect like the music. I don't know.
No, I hear that. So a lot of people say a lot of bad things about the city of Hamilton, Ontario. Say something nice about the city of Hamilton, Ontario. I do my best, but you go for it.
Man, I think it's got the awesomest people. I'm gonna say it's got a real bone of real people that I travel around the world, and every time I get back to the city, I realize like these are some special people. I think that is what makes Hamilton special. It's something. I think it comes from like, I think it gets into all of us, but it's something about that old school steel mill, hardworking city that. Even though it hasn't really, not everyone's worked there, not everyone's done that. I still think it rubs off and kind of touches everybody in a certain way. And it has grit. Hamilton's got grit, and I think that is a good thing. I don't know, and it's it's a big city, but it's a small enough city that you still got 2 to 3 degrees of separation from almost anybody you will ever meet here. You got 1 million people here almost, or whatever, and literally, if you really think about it, you could almost know somebody through anybody. Like one person, you'd be like, I'll meet one person and be like, where in the city are you from? And I'll be like, you can start naming off a couple names, and
there you go.
I feel like
but you're a cheat code, Johnny.
Yeah,
you're a cheat code.
Right, a little bit.
You're a cheat code. Come on,
a little bit. My memory ain't that good with names, so that's my problem, man. I'm terrible with names.
I hear that.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
I'm like, hey.
Oh, and everyone, you got the food trucks called Johnny. There, everyone's like Johnny. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh
What do you know my
shit.
name?
Does he actually know me? Do I actually know him?
Yeah. Oh, that is hilarious.
It's okay. I'm like I said, as long as I'm winning more than I'm losing.
That's
That's
it.
all that's all. That's a
it.
lesson. That is the moral of the story today, right?
That's the moral of today. I think
As long
that's
as I'm winning more than I'm losing.
102. 102.
Right?
Winning more than losing.
That's the title.
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right, everybody. So this was episode 102. This is with Jonny Blonde. We really hope you learned a thing or two.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
No,
It was
this
a
was
pleasure to have pizza in the break room. We should talk more about pizza next time. So I could talk a whole episode with you about pizza. Yeah, like I know a lot about different shops, and oh man, we could just go on and on, but I won't. It's the end. We're at the end. 102.
No, we'll do it. We'll do it. We'll do it live with Jonny Blonde talking about pizza.
Here we go. We'll talk about pizza in the break room and then serve like butter tarts, right, Jonny?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Let me just tell you, everybody, if anybody ever comes up on the food truck or is at an event and Jonny says, you want a butter tart? The answer is yes. Or a whatever tart. Best tarts.
Is it
Yeah.
the Portuguese style natas?
No, I don't do natas, but those are, it's my own style of that.
Okay,
Dish.
it's Jonny
They're
Blonde style.
butter. It's
Jonny
a butter
Blonde.
tart. It's
It's a very
it's
good
similar.
butter tart.
It's different.
I don't
but
like butter tarts, man. I don't like that kind. But that's a good butter tart.
Yeah, it's different.
Add the butter tart.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sean.
Add the butter tart. Jonny, thank you so much. We are going to do what we call a raid. So we're going to take all of our people here and we're going to send them somewhere else. So you hang on for a hot second. We got Star Q, everybody's, and we're going to go to see DJ Star Q. Once again, thank you, everybody, for being here. We ran a little longer than we usually do because Jonny's just telling some good stories. I think we really, really do need a part 2 of this at some point.
Hey,
the part 2 that I want to get is, how did you convince everybody in the strip club to buy the drink?
Oh man, I'm telling you, they felt sorry for me, man. I'm telling you, it's because I looked underage. Because I was. They're like, man, get this. How's this kid gonna get back to Hamilton?
That is awesome. That is so awesome. Thank you, everybody, for being here. All things CMOS, big up. Thank you for JCap, Snaps. I don't know if I shouted you out, but big up. T Dennis. And one more time for the QWERTY Queen.
We
headed out to DJ.
I never read it as the before. I always read it as the.
Now, if you don't, you better wash out, son. All right, extra E up in that piece. All right, Star Q it is, everybody. Thank you for being here. We'll see you on Friday, everybody.
Wins than losses.
This is Jonny Blonde. Everybody, click on the Jonny Blonde.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Hang on 1 second, Jonny. We're gonna
good night, y'all.
in a second. Peace out, everybody else. Oh, volume.